On action. Welcome to
Hello. Happy Thursday. Tonight, what are we talking about? I just briefed you on tonight's topic.
You mentioned Self Carriage.
Yes. Tonight we are talking about Self Carriage, which I think is a very important concept.
And you asked me what I know about Self Carriage, and I said that balance is another name for Self Carriage, and you have to be in balance to be able to do anything. Otherwise, you're going to fall down.
Yes. So if you would like to see a demonstration of Self Carriage, you can go to the YouTube channel because this week's video was all about Self Carriage.
Which horse were you
on? Jacques.
Oh, yeah.
I also want to remind you of this Sunday is the Contact and Connection webinar. I'm going to be doing the webinar 4 times. So I'm going to do it this Sunday. I'm going to do it next Sunday. So you can pick and choose what time works best for you. But I do highly recommend coming. There's no replay, so you have to come live.
So it's live.
Yes. And it's going to be a great presentation because I think that figuring out contact is like the hardest part of riding and training. And so hopefully I can shed some light and make it a little easier for you and for your horse. You have a good story about figuring out contact and how to be supple and soft in your arms from Albrecht.
Oh, when he grabbed my forearm and goes, "Oh my God, why are you so strong?" That story?
Was that an epiphany moment for you?
Yeah, I've been riding for 12 years, and I had ridden with,
I see your eyes.
That's it.
It's better.
I've been riding with a lot of people, and nobody had really ever gotten out of the chair and walked over and held my arms and moved my reins and moved my hands. And it changed my world. And I've been teaching that lesson that Albert gave me ever since. And my horse's necks are more supple. I'm more supple. I'm more flexible in the wrist. I don't hang in the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
And that was all from Albert putting his hand on my forearm and going, "This muscle has to be soft." Well, he didn't say it like that. It was a little more dramatic. But your forearm, the point of that story is my forearm muscle got soft after the instruction I received, and it's just changed the contact that I have. And and for the better.
I think it's really hard when you're riding because you hear like, oh, your horse needs to be around, or you have to get their head down. And then you're like, you end up holding and you end up stiffening because of that. And so it's hard to figure that out. Like, how do you get a frame without holding your horse in a frame?
Well, Morton says that you have to hold without holding.
Then how do you do that?
Time and miles.
Yeah.
You got to experiment. But that's why this horseback riding thing is so zen, because you have to go and not go, right? That's your pee-off. You're going but not going. And you have to hold without holding.
But it's about the timing of your aids. It's about, releasing and taking when you need to take and softening when you need to take, and
so I
all of that stuff
in the office hours the other day, and somebody liked it very much because I said that aids is the name of the language that we use for the horses, and just like a language, you have punctuation, you have pauses, you have phrases. That when you make your aids, it has to be the same way too. It's that same aid, but a little less, and it has more meaning. And sometimes there's a period, sometimes there's a comma, sometimes there's just a hesitation. So it's like text messaging. Like text messaging, you don't get the message really, right?
Yes.
You lose something in the text message. So when you speak with someone, the conversation is more easily understood, and and you want your aids to be like a conversation, not like a text message.
Good analogy. Very zen. But I think that's a lot where experience comes in. It comes from riding a lot of horses and figuring out how to communicate with different horses, and part of that's time and miles, but part of it is also, it's so important to have teachers or to have instructors, like to have that lesson with Albrecht where he's like, what are you doing? Right. Because if you don't ever have that, then you just don't know what you don't know. And I definitely have had some like epiphany moments where, at one point I got to get on my trainer's Grand Prix horse, and I got to feel like what a horse feels like when they're really soft and when they're really connected, and that feeling of true roundness and true softness where you're not pulling on them and you can move their neck around. And those are like little glimmers that you never forget.
And that's what gets to the self-carriage, right? So if a horse is in that kind of self-carriage, if they're carrying us and themselves and they're on their 4 feet, then you can maneuver them easy.
Yeah.
Because of the balance, because of that self-carriage. And if they're not engaged, if they're not holding themselves up, they're leaning on your hands, you act like a counterbalance to keep them from falling down. They're laying on your hands, you're leaning back against the mouth. They don't fall down, but it's just not good.
Yes. Are we moving on to self-carriage then?
Sure.
Let us know in the chat. Has anyone experienced the feeling of self-carriage? What does it feel like? What does self-carriage feel like to you?
There's an ease to it all. Everything just comes easier.
Yeah. There's a lightness to it. There's a feeling of like that your horse is doing it on their own. I think that's really important, that you can sit there and like look pretty and breathe for a moment and your horse stays doing it. It's not like you have to manufacture it, that you can push your heels down, you can give the inside rein, and your horse is just supporting, they're self-sustaining, they're self-supporting instead of you doing it. All right, we have some good, a car on ice. I don't know.
You must have a very nice car. That must be a really nice car.
Well, granted, we don't drive on ice because we live in California.
Yeah, but it just seems like you would slide right off.
But it is like that. I guess when you're on ice, there's such a maneuverability.
Right, you're just sliding around. It's not all grippy.
Yeah. Locomo, like a feather, light and floaty. Locomotion, soft, easy, bendy. And I think the moments of self-carriage, they're definitely fleeting, right? Like you get a moment of that feeling and then it goes away. It doesn't stay there forever. And that's the hard part of it. So it's something that you have to keep creating. You have to have a vision in your mind of wanting self-carriage, and then it's something you have to work at. If you never try, right? If you never push your heels down and see what happens, or give the rein and see what happens, a lot of times it falls apart. And so it's easier to just hold your horse together, but you have to try for self-care.
Right. You have that holding and preventing the mistake. Nobody learns. We all learn in the mistakes. I do, the horse does. And so, good decisions are based on experience. Experience is based on bad decisions. So you make the mistake. You allow the horse to make the mistake.
And then you fix it.
Yeah. Don't punish mistakes.
You just fix it.
You just fix it. Show the horse what you want.
Yeah. But try when you're going around, push your heels down, take your leg off, see what happens. Your horse should stay at the same tempo. If your horse slows down, then make them go a little extra fast and then try it again. Push your heels down. And by training that into your horse, that's how you get the light, soft, invisible eights. And that's what we all want.
There are my people. It's addictive. Yeah, the horses certainly are. It is definitely a rush and a high. Those are my people. They're the addicts. We like them.
Yes. And same thing with your reins. One thing that I do recommend when you're working on getting your horse a little lighter is to try first by just giving the inside rein. So make sure your horse is round, make sure your horse is soft. You have to a little bit pick and choose the moments. Like if you know that your horse is a little braced or their head is always up, that's not a moment that you necessarily want to try and uber strike in and give the rein. So get your horse a little rounder, softer first, then give the rein, see what happens, and then try again. But it's something that I know from being around the top riders, like working on self-carriage is a process. It's something that improves as your horse moves up the levels. And I think Christine always said, Christine and Hinneman, they always say that the amount of self-carriage is related to, like Herman said, the balance, which is related to the engagement of and the activity of the hindquarters. So theoretically, as you train a horse up to the FEI levels, the amount of self-carriage should increase because they're more engaged, they're more on the hind end, they're more balanced.
And that's why you can do more harder things, because of that balance. They're more easily maneuverable.
Yeah.
You can get them around the arena and do those steep things.
More harder things.
More harder
That's
things.
good. That's good English there.
I know.
But I have a 5-year-old in training right now, and the working on his self-carriage has been a process. Especially at the canter. Like the trot, he's pretty balanced, but at the canter, it's a little bit like not there. And so as he's getting stronger and as he's starting to balance himself, I'm getting more moments of self-carriage, where at first it was like, I felt like I was just having to hold him together in the canter. And that's very normal for a young horse, that they need that support. But then you also have to find the moments where you try to make them lighter and you teach them how to balance themselves and how to carry themselves. And one of the biggest things with self-carriage is your rider position, right? If you want your horse to be in balance, if you want your horse to be in self-carriage, you have to ride from your seat.
The last two are really quite good.
What do they say?
The meeting of the mind, because you're really together with your horse. And then Lisa said the balance, but you've got more power though, right? So like you get your horse is in balance and it's lighter, but it's more powerful too. Yeah. Which is definitely, that's the thing there.
Yeah. It's an amazing feeling, self-carriage, but it comes and goes. Okay, I had some questions. So if anyone here has questions, put them in the chat. So
there's Weave and Wobble asking if any horse can do dressage and FEI. And yes.
Yes. Comment in the chat. Let us know what breed your horse is. But I've had some interesting horses. I had an Arabian that I got him up to the I2.
No, but
Max, he was cool.
Max was cool, but the one that was, because he was
Sparky. I had a little Appaloosa.
POA.
And he was so talented and so smart and so naughty all at the same time. All right,
we've got some. And remember, you walk in the barn aisle and he would just look at you and judge you. And it was like, whoa.
He had a look in his eye.
That horse was something else.
For sure. But he got all the way up to the I1. He had the best flying changes. He had his cute little medium trot. He was a super cool horse.
And he was a Dalmatian. He was polka dotted.
Yeah.
He looked cool.
Yeah.
It was great.
That's what I love about dressage though, is it really helps, it helps all horses. It helps all breeds. It's like, it helps them figure out a better way to use their body, to be more symmetrical, to be more supple. It's like all those things. And really any horse can do dressage. They might not all be Olympic horses, but they all can do dressage.
Right. And then, at the lower levels, it's just training. It's like every horse needs to lengthen a stride, shorten a stride, make a flying change.
Whether you're jumping or
going cross country or whatever. It doesn't turn into dressage with the top hat and the tails for quite some time.
Yeah. Or even if you just want to enjoy your horse, right? If you want to have fun and enjoy riding, your horse has to go, stop, turn, bend.
Be on the aids, right.
Otherwise it's not very fun. So, all right. I see we have an Appaloosa saddlebred we have a off the track thoroughbred, British riding pony. Interesting. Dutch warm blood, Limpazan cross, Tennessee Walker, Oldenburg, Hanoverian, all kinds of breeds. All righty. Okay, question number 1 from Kay. How can you develop concentration? My Arab mare is 7 tomorrow, and he's so easily distracted. He can give me some lovely moments, and then he's like, oh, look, a butterfly, and his brain is gone. Do you correct those moments?
I correct those moments by turning them into the arena and making the focus be inside the arena.
Yes, I agree. Inside leg to outside rein connection.
I remember, I'm not going to use anybody's name, but anyway, a very famous trainer teaching another pretty well-known trainer. And the well-known trainer is coming into the arena or she's in the arena, and then this truck and trailer come driving up on the outside of the covered arena, and the well-known trainer lets its horse look outside, and then the famous trainer lost their mind. Why are you letting your horse look over there? So, it's just, you use the rein and you bring the horse's focus into the arena.
Yeah.
No punishment. It's not, oh, you just, hey, we're looking over here now, and use the reins.
Yeah. And I think, it's okay for your horse to notice things around, like, oh, a trailer's coming, right? But then when you put your aids on, like when you put your inside leg on, when you say, hey, pay attention, look in here, they need to come back to you. And that's a safety thing, because when you're riding your horse, they need to be looking to you as the leader. So they might notice something. And that's like Herman said, you're not going to punish them, but you do need to be able to say, yeah, I see the trailer's there. All right, let's go back to work. And it's definitely, concentration is something that is developed over time with a horse. So it's very normal that young horses are like, they don't have good concentration.
It's like, there's no 5-year-old child. I don't care what you hit it with. It will not do calculus. It won't. It doesn't have the attention span. It doesn't have.
And they need more recess when they're like in elementary school, right? They can't sit in class all day. So it's the same thing, but it's also about teaching them the aids and teaching them, hey, stay off my inside leg, bend to the inside. It's about your horse understanding the discipline of like, okay, this is riding time. This is time I need to focus. And then when I'm out in the pasture, I can look at whatever and do whatever I want to do. But really bending and turning is the best solution to get your horse's focus and attention.
And if that isn't enough, make the arena smaller, cut the arena down into a half, cut it into a third, just stay on the circle. I do that a lot with my young horses when I'm starting, especially when I go to a show. I'll start on a circle and transitions on that circle and just a circle. And then I add some straight in the middle of the circle. So a little bit of straight with a 20-meter half circle, and slowly expand their world. Because if it's too much stimulus, then you can't get them to calm down. So I'll just make the world smaller, make my arena smaller.
Okay, Ryan is here. He's asking, can I come to Willowview and give a clinic? Where are we located? We're in California, and we both do travel some to do clinics. So I think we're both going to Idaho, but different weekends.
Right, because going on the same weekend was too complicated. So we're both going to Idaho next month.
Well, you're going in September. I'm going in November.
Oh.
I'm going to Utah in October. I'll be gone for our anniversary. Sorry, honey. I feel like I've been gone every one of our anniversaries.
No, because I was gone a couple of them. I think we've been together of the 10 for 2.
All right. Well, happy anniversary. But yeah, it's fun to go. It's fun to travel and do clinics. I was in Montana earlier this month, which was really pretty. I've been to Salt Lake City, which is really pretty. So it's fun to see different parts of the country. And yes, I do some clinics. Okay, next question is from Laura. She says, how can you shop for a dressage prospect on a reasonable budget that isn't mid or high 5s and that's still rideable and not a yearling?
Just keep looking. All people's situations change all the time.
Yeah.
And
you can get lucky.
I mean, it does happen.
And, if you're on a budget, you do have to be willing to compromise on something, right? So you may need to compromise on age. Like the most expensive, everyone wants a horse between 7 and 10 years old. That's like the golden years.
With a change.
Yes. So if you want a horse with a change between 7 and 10 years old that is clean on the vet check, you're going to pay a pretty penny for it. If you're willing to compromise on age, either going older or going younger, you can get a better deal. If you're willing to compromise on the vet check, you can get a better deal. So sometimes horses that have vet issues, you have to be careful, right? It could become a thing. It could never become a thing. I've bought horses that haven't been clean on the vet check and never had a problem. I've also bought horses that haven't been clean on the vet check that have a problem. So
I got Q because
he had a collateral ligament.
Who, Q did?
Uh-huh.
No, that's new Q.
Oh, okay.
Q.
The old Q, because he was unrideable.
Yeah.
So if you're very brave, you could buy a horse with a behavioral problem. Although I don't recommend that for most people.
Well, he did the Grand Prix.
Yeah, we got him all the way to the Grand Prix.
Got you your silver medal.
So moral of the story is, yes, you can find a good horse on a budget, but finding a good horse, period, is hard.
Right, it's hard. But you just keep plugging away at it.
Yes.
And I don't know, it sounds all hokey, but trust the universe and just put out the effort.
Good advice. Okay. Deb says, rein or hand position on a short-necked horse. Keep the neck as if in default, or use the reins and hands to lengthen the neck.
I don't change it for a short neck horse. You ride the same.
Yeah.
I mean,
hands should be together and in front of the withers. But with a shorter necked horse, you do want to help them to like lower and lengthen their neck a little bit.
Right. That's yes. I mean, you're going to try and stretch them a little bit more because they're going to want to be like a turtle and get it stuck down in there easier. But so yeah, you just have that little bit where you think, oh yeah, I got to stretch, and then go back to it. But I don't change it a lot.
Here's a good question for you.
Uh-oh.
Any suggestions for relaxing your shoulders so you don't hold your horse back with your stiffness?
The one that I like the most is you take your shoulders and you scrunch them as tight as you can up by your ears. For those on the podcast, you can't see me doing this, but I look ridiculous at the moment. But you take your shoulders and you pinch them and hold them tight and then drop them. And then you bring them back up to your ears and you squeeze them as tight as you can and then drop them. That's my go-to. And the other one is you can just make circles with them. And I've had more success with the tight shoulder drop one, but other people really respond well to trying to make in circles because it helps keep their elbows bent while they're going. So those are the two.
Yes.
And then you can do that stuff at the walk, right? Where you reach up with one hand, do the airplane, and reach back and touch your horse's haunches, reach forward and touch the pole, and just get yourself unlocked in the saddle at the walk.
Yes. Lots of things. Remember to breathe. Breathing also really helps. It's funny. I was filming a video and I was holding my breath. I was like, wow, you get like really tight. The instant you stop breathing, all of your muscles tense. So try to breathe in rhythm with your horse. Breathe in for 3 or 4 beats. Breathe out for 3 or 4 beats. That is right away going to help you to relax a little bit more. So, Paul or Ryan's asking. So yes, if you're interested in hosting me or Herman for a clinic, you can go to my website, amelianewcomedressage.com. There's a contact form you can fill out and we would love to come to your place. So I think that's everything for tonight. Please make sure to RSVP and come to the Contact and Connection webinar. It's going to be on Sunday. I'm very excited. I have some good stories to tell. I'm not going to tell them all tonight. And I think that I've put together a presentation that's going to help you understand the right way to get your horse round and soft without pulling on your horse, without kicking and pulling and driving your horse into the bit, because I just don't think that works. And it certainly doesn't create self-carriage. Okay, one last question.
Let's handle that question. What's it from, Louis?
Luis.
There's a question. You say push your heels down. Could you expand on why or what that does? So the why is because most people, until you learn how to sit properly, will overbend their knees and draw their heels up
and grip.
And grip. And so you're sticking your leg in there. And then there's a whole thing about neural fatigue and your horse not being able to listen to what your aids are, and you're out of position and not giving the correct aid. So we say heels down a lot, but we don't really want your heel below your toe and stuck. your foot needs to be flat and your ankle is your shock absorber. So your ankle has to be soft and your ankle has to be able to dip down. So your foot's level and your ankle dips down. That's how you absorb the trotting motion, or whatever gait you're in, actually. It's just more pronounced in the trot. So there's your answer.
Good explanation. Thank you. All right. We'll see you all next Thursday. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Bye.
Oh, one other thing. Also, when you do that with your heel, your calf muscle stays soft, and that helps not grip on the horse.
Encore.
Yeah.